Would like to welcome you all to the Zoom meeting, webinar, however you want to say it, for the Blue Thumb app map. First of all, I would like to ask you all to mute your microphones if you would, and whatever questions that you might have, if you would type them, into the chat group room to everybody, and we'll interrupt Shelley with talking whenever somebody asks a question, typing it in the chat room. Let's see. So I am the QA officer for Blue Thumb. Been with Blue Thumb for about 18 years now. A little bit of history behind this Blue Thumb app map is we started back in late 2017 and got in connection with a professor at Michigan Tech University, who is a professor for, I guess, app making classes and stuff like that. And so we started the planning of having a Blue Thumb app in late 2017. Then he had at least 2 different classes in 2018 that worked on and created a Blue Thumb app for data entry. And then I think early class in 2019. And then at the end of that, he really didn't have more classes coming on, and we just kind of puttered out to a standstill with the app. After that time, we went to a conference in Colorado and started brain thinking about an app that we really wanted and needed to have outside of Michigan Tech that we could have rights to and change whatever we needed to. So we had some brain thoughts from that conference. Then we got in touch with Shelley Willoughby here, our GIS specialist out of the Conservation Commission office. And she has experience over 20 years with GIS work. And then we really started hitting the ground running, and now officially have a data entry app live and available. And the app map is what Shelley's going to introduce us to. So you volunteers and even anybody out there in the world can see what data is being entered into the app. So Shelley, go ahead and take it away for us, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today. I'm really excited to showcase the app map that we have built. Let me get this set up and we will get this running. And always, trying to do everything through Zoom is always a challenge. Give me just a second to get my screen up and running as it needs to be. All right, let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
No.
Okay, of course. We tested this earlier and it went so smoothly. We should have known.
It's okay, you'll get it.
It'll work.
Just to let you all know that this is being recorded. So for future reference, this will be posted on our website for people that aren't here today, but also for years to come. They'll be able to view it as well.
Perfect. All right.
Here it is. Yeah.
The PowerPoint. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Blue Thumb app map, really this is all about taking the data from the field and taking it to an online viewing. And that was one of the things that Kim and several other people, and we've talked about this for years, is really how do you take data from out in the field and bring it to where people can see it every day, whether it be you as volunteers, people, the public that are interested in it, or just scientists who are needing data. We get requests pretty regularly from people wanting data about the Blue Thumb project. And so how do we make that available to people for daily viewing? So as Kim said, my name is Shelley Willoughby. I work as the GIS specialist for the Conservation Commission. I have been with the commission since 1999. And I also have GIS experience prior to that in college. Here's my contact information. If at any point you guys have any questions about GIS work, GIS things for the Conservation Commission, please feel free to reach out to me, not only about Blue Thumb, but any of the other applications that we are doing. I can really happy to help you in any way. And if I can't find you the answer, I can point you in the direction of hopefully somebody that can.
Okay, come here. You want
Just
no?
a few things.
Yeah,
The app we built, it went through various iterations, testing, everything to really get it in a format in a way that is user-friendly to all of you. It gets the data to Kim and everyone that needs it. So if you've seen it, you're pretty familiar. Let me open it up. So you just ask you the general questions: volunteer, sampling, date, time. You can select a point. We've built all of this into it to make it easy for really all of you to be able to input the data. This should look pretty familiar. Site conditions, dissolved oxygen test. You can put all of that information in. pH tests. And hopefully, and again, as you guys are working through the apps, if there are things that don't work as well, certainly let us know. This is a work in progress. All of this stuff we're building is a work in progress. So we, as we were going through this, I constantly was asking Kim and Rebecca, what do we need to change? What would be easier for the volunteers? What would be easier for all of you to see? So these are things, the feedback that we want to see. But chloride test, we have it to where you can put in the pictures. So all of that data is submitted in through this app. So you can hit submit and, then the magic happens. But really, what is that magic? Kim has also put together a YouTube video. If you need to see that, I've linked to it as well. So she walks you through how to use the app and all of that. So that is also available and a great resource to have. But then you have the magic. You hit the Blue Thumb app, and then what happens? Well, that's where we come in. So once you hit the submit button, Kim gets an email. The app sends her an email that says, hey, you have data. And so that gives her an idea that data has been submitted and that she goes behind the scenes, as I call it, into the ArcGIS Survey 123, which is just an online computer program that we have set up for her. And she can review the data that you all have submitted. And so you can see across the top here is a lot of the similar fields that you are entering in. And there's a QA/QC complete, which you all don't see. So what this allows Kim to do is to go in and look at the data. And as soon as she clicks an X and says, yes, this data is complete, it is accurate, it hits a switch and it puts a point on a map. So you have been out in the field, Kim's gotten an email, Kim has quality controlled it, and it now shows up on a map.
Oscar, come on.
Ideally, this could happen within a few minutes. So now instead of having to submit it through an Excel format or mail it and then waiting for someone to enter it and then going through a computer and then trying to figure out how to get it on a map, if ever, since we haven't mapped it before, now that process that could have taken weeks, months, or not happen is now really in a matter of minutes. So it's just a matter of when we can get to or when Kim can get to the email and check it for quality control.
Hey, Shelley, we have a question in the chat.
Yes.
From Beth Walker. Will you be putting in an auto calculation of % oxygen saturation like we had in previous iterations? So I thought you might want to speak to that and why there isn't an auto calculation.
You will have to forgive me as I am not a scientist as you all are. Please explain exactly, are you talking about that huge long Excel calculation that we couldn't get into this? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a little bit too complex for the software is my
Yes. Yes. And I just wanted to make sure I was speaking to the correct one. Because again, forgive me for not knowing all of the specific terms. I constantly had to work with Kim and Rebecca going, okay, explain this to me, because I know the GIS side of it, but I don't know the biology and all of the mathematical formulas. So with building the app, we have a very limited calculations behind the scenes. So when we're going in and it's calculating all of that stuff, I can't put in like an Excel format, and we have to do it. Every calculation has to be a step-by-step process. And unfortunately at this point, the calculations behind the scenes of the app just cannot handle that long of a calculation. So we're hoping in future that that will happen and that we will be able to provide you with that resource. But right now, unfortunately, that isn't. So I apologize for that. But hopefully in future apps that we release, future versions, we will be able to bring you back that functionality. Rebecca, are there other questions?
No, but I will interrupt you again if there are. Thank you.
Perfect.
Shelley.
I like it. I prefer the interaction with people because it just lets me know. That's the one thing I miss about presenting in public and in with people is that I can't answer the questions and I can't see the reactions right away. So certainly at any time, feel free to interrupt me if you have questions. I'm happy to answer, and it makes it easier and a more one-on-one conversations to be able to do this presentation how you guys want and to answer your questions. So certainly anytime, interrupt me. So once you go behind the scenes, Kim does her quality control and the points show up on the map, then you will be able to go into what we're calling the Blue Thumb app map, which you can't say very quickly for a lot of times. And what you will see, and this will be made to the public. And so once Kim and Rebecca publish this and get this out, it will be available to everybody. And so it's an online map viewer that is completely hands-on, be able to go in and look. So you see the points. So you know that you are a volunteer and you're interested in this particular site. And I'm just kind of randomly, you can zoom in, you can see how the aerial photos start coming in so you can see them. And so you have this nice point and you can click on it and you start to see the data. So if you will look along here, you will recognize that these are the same data layers that you, or the same fields that you have in the app. So as you are going through, you can see that data that has been entered. So this is a great way to be able to view that data. And we'll get down here and you have pictures. So the pictures that you submitted, you can be able to see those as well. And so as there are pictures of the streams, all of that stuff becomes available online. So if you monitor this site multiple times, you'll see the date on this one was December 17th, 2020. Up here, you'll see how many there are. So now you have January 20th, 2021. So as the more data becomes available for this particular site, you can see all of those different records. So let's see, let's check this one. So you can see there's 2 there as well. And you can be able to look through, I don't want to make anybody car sick by scrolling through this too fast. So again, you can see the pictures, you can start to see the data, you can compare the different data sets and see the different monitoring that's been going on for that particular area. If you want to just go back to the whole statewide, you can do that as well. It zooms back. If you want to know where you're at, if for some reason you don't, you can hit this allow my location and it should zoom you into, and hopefully the ag building, it's working on it. There you go. And so it'll take you to your particular location, wherever you're at. So I'm gonna have to move this down here. So some of this, we have a lot of different tools up here, and a lot of them were built based on recommendations by Kim and Rebecca, feedback from them about what they wanted you to be able to do with this and how you wanted to be able to view the data. So you have the different legends. I mean, this just tells you, in October 2020, that is just really the date we started and we published all of this data. So you have the layers, you have the photography, and then the Blue Thumb data. And so if you build more, you'll have more in there. We also wanted to be able to have the capability for people to be able to add data to it. So for instance, if you are GIS savvy, or if you know of other data layers that you want to add in with your Blue Thumb data, we have given you that option to be able to do that. If you've found other GIS layers that have a website, you can do that here. Or if you have a file. So a lot of times when Kim and Rebecca provide data to me, they do it in an Excel spreadsheet. And let me see if I can get to my desktop. Well, let's do it this way. Let's browse. So a lot of times what they will do is they will give me an Excel spreadsheet. And that Excel spreadsheet will have latitude and longitude in it. And it'll give me site name, it'll give me information, and it will give me different pieces and parts. But the main part is that it'll give me a site name and a latitude and longitude. So you can save that Excel file as a CSV. And I have, actually I have watershed dams right here. And if I open those up, click open, and it should. Now you will see that these are spread out all over everywhere. But you see how quickly I was able to add another data set into this. And so you can see these various points here. So if you had other data sets that you needed to have, if you had your own sites that were, then you had latitude and longitudes, you have an Excel spreadsheet, this will show you how quickly you can add and compare your data versus other data sets. So if you were, say if you were working in a city and you needed to know if there were other sites nearby a Blue Thumb monitoring site, this would be a quick and easy way to be able to do that. And then once you do add that data, if you look in the layers, you'll see that it adds it into here. So you can turn those on and off like you would other data layers. And that gives you some functionality to be able to do that. So that's kind of a fun and handy, easy way to be able to add your own data and to customize this map however you need it. We also have a print module so that if you create your map, you want to be able to see it. You can print that out. There's some options of how you want that map controlled, and then you can print it out as a PDF or you can print it directly from a printer. And then also JPEG. So if you're writing a report, if you just want to be able to have it, you have all of those options available as well. You can also share this app. So we have a link. You saw how I went from the PowerPoint presentation to the link to be able to open it. You can share that out as well. You can put it in a website if you want to do that. So if you're working along and you have this information and you want to share it with other coworkers or friends or people, you have the capability to do that as well. The measure tool is very handy. I like this tool a lot because it just gives you some options to be able to do things. If you needed to know specifically how big an area is, this is a quick and easy way. Now, it's certainly not survey grade, so I wouldn't go, saying, well, I measure this off the Blue Thumb app and this is what we need to be able to do. But it just gives you a quick and easy way to look to say, okay, that's 190 acres. Or if you wanted to know how far is it down this stream to this intersection, that gives you an easy way. You can zoom in to be able to get more accuracy. And then you can follow that stream just to be able to do that. And you can say, it's 0.21 miles. You also say, for instance, if you needed to know, okay, what's the latitude longitude at this point? You can do that as well. That'll give you, and so that'll give you some information. Again, if you were looking for various points and you needed to plot them on a map, you could use this tool to gather the latitude, longitude, create an Excel spreadsheet, upload it into the file like I showed you previously, and then you could have your own data layer on here of particular sites that you were interested in. So that would give you the functionality to kind of create your own layer that you needed to be able to perform other work functions. So one of the other things, this last tool that we have here is the select tool. So if you were in a particular area and you are interested in, you wanted to know what these sites are here, you can select your tool and you'll notice that those highlight up. And so that's an easy way to select those to be able to see that. And if you go into here, if you'll see here, it says there's 8 points selected. Go in here, you can zoom to, pan, you can make them flash. So you can quickly see where those are. If you wanted to just export these to a CSV file, you could take that selection, select it out. You can export it. You can create a layer. So what that means is you can take these points and create just your own little data set of those to where you can then add those back into this map. And that will give you the functionality just to be able to see those along with the others. If you wanted to view them in the attribute table, okay, I'm completely having to move this all around. I'm sorry. I just keep moving us all over this map. So you can start to see, you can see this data table. And this again was something that Kim and Rebecca really wanted you to be able to have this functionality. This was a big portion of this map app. So we'll clear this out. And the way that we found this attribute table is down here is this little up arrow. So you can be able to move that up and down. So you can have a lot of this gives you more real estate to see the map. But if you need to see the attribute table, you have sampling date, time, date. Again, if you notice as we go through looking here, these columns are built based off of the information in the Blue Thumb app that you guys were entering information into in the field. So all of that information is here. You can just see it in a data format. You have, there's pictures and there's comments. All of that stuff is here. So like raccoon prints, this is a comment that somebody made. Various directions under the bridge. If you wanted to make this bigger, you can. So less map, more data table. Some of the options that you can filter. So if you wanted to filter based on a site name, if you wanted to get all of the data for a particular site, I don't know, since not all of them have data, I won't do that right now, but that gives you the ability to do that. If you're looking for sites that have, say, certain pHs or, something like that, you can do that as well. You can filter the data however you want it to be able to answer the questions that you have. And then you have the ability to export it all to the CSV file as well. So once you click OK, it'll save that out and then will allow you to open that in Excel. So now instead of somebody having to try to figure out who do they contact to be able to talk to us, to be able to get us to, to answer an email, to export the data, to get the data back to them. Now the capability is here to be able to do that, which will make it really handy for all the volunteers and people to be able to look at the data. So that kind of in the nutshell is the app map. And so, as I said, we've really just kind of I've taken what Kim and Rebecca had suggested, and we've built in functionality. By no means is this a final product. As we continue on working with this, volunteers working with this, we will be adding more and more functionality. There's no telling what all we'll be able to do later on. So as you work with it, and if there are things you'd like to see, certainly let us know. So one of the other projects that we have on the horizon, and something that we had talked about from the very beginning when we were doing this, is also not only putting in the data that you enter in the field, but also historical data. So you look at this and you will see that it looks very, very familiar and very similar to what we just were talking about. And so we've called this one the historical data app, and it doesn't look much different until you start zooming in. So Kim provided me with just some historical information from the past, some historical Blue Thumb sites. And so we were able to add those in. So instead of you being able to see them from the get-go, you zoom in. And it's the same kind of thing. You can click on one and it gives you past data. You can click between the two, look through them. We have the past information there. And so our goal eventually will be to have all of the historical data on here as well. So here's one that has one of 7. So you can look through this, you know, October of 2019, 2020, 2018. And so now you have the capability to be able to view this data over the years for this particular site. And that's something that, you know, we haven't been able to do up to this point. So I think this will be a very handy tool for volunteers and people over, you know, once we get this one completely built out. So like I said, this is something that we're working on. It will be something that's coming soon. We have tested it and just to see if the capability is there. So like this date, this one's from 2014. So you can really see the differences in this site. We also have, like for instance, this site here, we have both historical and a current site. So you would be able to get the current information, but also the historical site as well. So when you go into the data table, so you'll still have all of the functionality, all of the capabilities up here. So if you want to add more data, if you want to do your measurements, if you want to change, you know, the data layer, say you don't want to see the historical data sites, you just want to turn those off. Or say you don't want to see the current Blue Thumb sites and just the historical. So you have the capabilities to be able to kind of manipulate this map however you would like to see it and how you want it to be able to go. And so, and then again, one of the great things with this is that you can do your Blue Thumb data. You can also do the historical data. So you can toggle between the 2 different data sets to be able to look at that to see how, when the data, you know, the activation, the active sites, the dates. So if you wanted to filter it by a particular date, show me all of the historical data from 2017. You could build that filter to be able to do that. You also have the capabilities to export all to the CSV file. So you can get the historical data. So say, for instance, you were interested in a particular watershed. You could use this site to upload your watershed boundary, select all of the sites within a particular watershed, and then you could not only download the current data, but then also the historical data. And you can all do that from now the convenience of your office or your home, wherever you're at. So it's not as dependent on having somebody in an office or trying to find that current data. It should be all available right there. So once we get that done, that will be a great tool available as well. So I would, as Kim mentioned, a special thank you to the Arizona Water Watch program. They were instrumental in getting this done. Rebecca had asked me about this to begin with. And so we reached out to Megan and Corey, and I actually had the opportunity to meet Corey in San Diego. We were in a presentation together. Wonderful guy. They shared everything. They basically just gave me all of their code, gave me all of their stuff and said, go for it. And which is fantastic because I had never tried anything like this before Kim and Rebecca came to me. So it truly was trying to learn how to do this, figure it out. And Corey and Megan were super sweet and just handed everything over to us and said, you know, call us at any time. So Corey and I had many a conversation about how to get all the formulas to work behind the scenes, how to get all the columns to work. Because there's tons and tons of programming and code going on behind the scenes, and Corey was very instrumental in getting that to us. So I encourage you to go out there and look at their Water Watch program if you have time, and just to see some of the things that they have done. So I know I've gotten through this kind of quick, but I wanted to give time for you guys to answer questions. Here's my contact information, the important links. I'm sure Kim and Rebecca will make this PowerPoint available. So my contact information is here. Both the links to the app and the app map are in here as well, so that you can go back and play with it and look at it and offer suggestions and see everything. So do you guys have questions? Again, that's where a lot of this information really starts to, you can really start to learn is by the questions that you guys give to me so that we can showcase this to you.
Shelley, can I jump in there just for a second?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So this map app allows volunteers and anyone else to view and download any of the data that are entered through the app. The data that are not entered through the app, which would be our biological data, our macroinvertebrates, fish and habitat data. Unfortunately, those files are gigantic, and for the foreseeable future, that would require a data request to Carla. But this I think is really a huge step forward, and we've come a long way. Shelley just really kind of got us. As Kim mentioned, we'd sort of hit an invisible obstacle, and Shelley got us over that obstacle, and we were up and running in a remarkably short time. So what we'd really like to hear things that you guys would like to see in future iterations of the app.
Because a lot of it comes from feedback. I mean, because the app that we originally built looks much different than the app that you all see. And it really came from people, I would build something, Kim would look at it and say, yeah, that's not exactly right. And then I go back and do some more. And then she had a few people test it and they said, can you do this? Can you do that? And we were able to get that in there to get things done. So really it does come from the volunteers, from people using it, the hands of the people to be able to get it customized into something that is very user-friendly for everybody. So are there other questions? Other things you'd like to see? Kim, Rebecca, are there things that I didn't cover that you would like for me to highlight?
Being exposed to a whole bunch of
I
young
think you
girls.
did a great job.
Yeah. And something in me still feels like a young guy, but was feeling a little bit self-conscious about that. It was not a big deal. It was a pretty straightforward operation.
Rebecca's cutting out.
I'm
Cheryl,
sorry?
you're unmuted because we're getting.
Well, I was going to say something, but okay.
It was
Shelley, would it be okay if volunteers do think of things after this webinar for them to shoot you an email?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I certainly encourage you to for all the volunteers to reach out to me at any time about anything GIS related. If you're looking for data sets, if you have questions, certainly reach out to me. I'm willing and very happy to help in any way I can. And especially with the app map and with the app, if there's something that isn't working right or something that you would like to see, let me know and I'll take those suggestions to Kim and Rebecca and see what we can do to get those implemented.
So we'll give just a minute or so for any other questions that might come through. We will post a recording of this webinar, so if you need to go back and refresh on any of this stuff or share it with someone else, we'll post a recording on our website.
I have a question maybe, and you may have covered it and I missed it. If you're do your test and go to the app to put in your data results, is there any part of it that covers repetition or pre-populated? Like if you've got a site and you're going back, you don't have to put in lat long every time. Does it pull from a template or a prior data input session?
It doesn't pull from a previous data session, but you do have the capabilities like with the site name to click on a site name and it will auto populate your water body ID, your county name, the latitude, longitude, it will populate that for you. So you're not having to type in those numbers. But as far as the other data to be able to just pre-populate it doesn't at this time.
Okay. The base information is what I was thinking, because they're like that long, there could be a lot of potential for data errors, retyping it every time.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why we created with the drop downs with those sites, that the known sites, is that it will auto populate those so that it always comes in at the right one. Because like the water body ID, that's a long number, and it's an easy number to type out incorrectly. So Candace, or Becky, or Cheryl, do you guys have any questions? Are there anything that you would like to see?
Well, this is Cheryl, and I will just say that I'm going to have to absorb it. I did go on and play with it some before this, before your webinar. And I'm just a little overwhelmed by all of the possibilities, honestly, Shelley. I am so tickled with your hard work, Kim and Rebecca's work on this. I'm just really excited by it. I think that this is going to help put Blue Thumb on the map. But at any rate, I do think that this is going to be a game changer for the popularity and for the updatedness that this is bringing to Blue Thumb. I can't tell you how appreciative I am, and I will have more to say, but I'm kind of in absorbing mode right now.
Well, feel free to contact me anytime, Cheryl.
I certainly will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's been a fun project. I've really enjoyed working on this. Candace, you were cutting it on me.
The photos that people have taken, ask volunteers to send us phone hacking them to the app. Like, that is an easy thing. And once, then we have it, like, I don't know. It's awesome. Thank you.
Candace, can you repeat that? I was getting a lot of feedback. Have I lost everybody?
So I'm
Still here. I can hear you
Okay.
fine.
Yeah,
I
I'm listening.
I can
Okay,
hear you just
all
fine.
Because Candace was very jarbled, and I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. She
Hers.
just said, Candace says she's really excited.
Okay, fantastic. I wasn't sure. I'm always a little nervous as if the technical issues are on my end or if it's somewhere else. So
Blame it on the weather.
Ugh.
I think that might be it, unless anybody else has some burning questions immediately. If not, then we'll go ahead and kind of close this up. Like we've said, this presentation is being recorded and will quickly be added to our website as a YouTube link. And so you guys can reference this at further dates in the future. Other than that, I think we'll go ahead and pretty much wrap it up and say thank you so very much to Shelley. Honestly, we could not have done this without you. And thank you to everybody else for joining us today.
Okay.
You all
Okay.
have a wonderful day. Stay warm, stay safe.